Jonesy, good to see you again. That means we're getting old, I think, at this rate. These anniversaries are coming across. It goes from 20 years to 25 years to 30 years. So if that's an indication, I mean, I don't know how many more we got left in our lifetime to do it. But any time you get that opportunity and kind of like looking at the accomplishments of where we were in the 80s and even up to 1990, I think the curve was the learning how to win. It took time to come across that, and I think, to be, the notoriety from the fans, not even from the teams, but from the fans saying that you're the #1 team in the NHL, and in the top, you got 4 teams in the top 10. I mean that's saying a lot, and that's not coming from your peers or anything. That's coming from the outside fan base, and that's an honor in itself. So, in my opinion, we're just proud and honored to be part of that, because there's so many other great teams and great moments, going back from the beginning of time in the NHL 100 years ago.
I'm going to agree with Andy. I mean, wow, almost. No, I think if you look back over 100 years of the NHL, to be considered the best team, I mean, there's been some phenomenal teams in the National Hockey League. I mean, you look at some of the Montreal teams, you look at some of the old Leaf teams, the Islander teams. There's been great teams. So to be considered that as being the best team, I think, one, it shows, yeah, we had a lot of fun, but we also figured out how to win at the same time while we're having a good time. And I think that's part of why the guys are all still so close together.
It's I had a short stay in Edmonton and certainly didn't have the length of career that the rest of these guys up here, the rest of that team did. But, I've been back, fortunately, the last 2 or 3 years for some of these events. And it's like you pick up where you left off. I haven't seen these guys, some of them, in 10, 15, 20 years. And the camaraderie that we had back then still goes on today. And it's, I'm not afraid to mess with Kevin, and I don't care whether he's the chairman or co-chairman or vice chairman or whatever he is. So, it's like we're all teammates still, 30 plus years later. It's a great experience, and to be considered the best team of the last century with all the great teams that came before us, it's a real honor.
Yeah, I think the best part for me is, I'll get to see the guys at different functions, and no matter where we go, as soon as we see each other, it's like Husey said, we revert back. We're all-time buddies, and just to have that, knowing that no matter where we go, we'll always be like that together. Fortunately, part of a great group of guys that we're voted the #1 team of the year or the century. So it's very honorable for me and greatly appreciate it.
Should I answer this, or should we let someone else have a question, Jonesy? I don't know. The guy said it. It's really special. And Husey played for the Canadians. I mean, he knows that great organization, great dynasty that they had. I mean, this maybe not answers your question, but I think it's worth saying is that we're all getting older, and we're not all going to be around. The passing of Dave is indication of what's to come for all of us. So you get a little more sentimental as you get older. But I think back to Magnus Anderson, Glenn's dad, Jack Coffey, Paul's dad, Doug Messier, Mark's dad. My dad passed away at a young age. He wasn't around to see this. But when Magnus Anderson was bringing us boxes of salmon sandwiches in the dressing room on game day, it was like he was coming into a minor hockey team. And guys would dig into that with their gear on. This is the greatest team of all time, digging into salmon sandwiches after practice on game day, and whether Magnus thought that that'd be the greatest team of all time or not, or he was giving us a little brain food, but somehow I was just thinking of that, and that was the era, the Pacific Coliseum, salmon sandwiches. Maybe that's part of the formula. I don't know.
Secret